The drought is over. After 12 years, we have an EF5 tornado. My first reaction, this is not how I thought my Monday morning was going to go in the middle of October. As of this morning, the official announcement came out that the Enderlin, North Dakota tornado that took place on June 20th this year was indeed worthy of an EF5 upgrade thanks to some analyses after the fact by multiple parties, Tim Marshall, Northern Tornado Project, to name a couple. To start, I'm going to read some of the statement from NWS Grand Forks, and then we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty details from there. The National Weather Service in Grand Forks conducted additional surveys and worked extensively with wind damage experts to further investigate the 20th of June 2025 Enderlin, North Dakota tornado. The estimated maximum wind speed of the Enderlin tornado is greater than 210 miles per hour and occurred during the time of the train derailment south of Enderlin, North Dakota. The analysis involved forensic damage wind speed estimates for tipping several fully loaded grain hopper cars and lofting of tanker cars, including one empty tanker car that was tossed about 475.5 feet. The maximum wind speed also correlates to the maximum strength on the WSR 88D storm relative velocity data from KMVX. This goes on to talk about some of the other contextuals that went into certifying this as an EF5 tornado. My initial reaction is that this is an EF5 candidate tornado from relatively early on, I would say. I did a tanker car estimate that actually came within 2 miles per hour of the analysis that the Northern Tornado Project did. To be within a couple miles an hour alone with my very simple method of just using, pretty basic drag equations was pretty cool to see, to be quite frank. This is still a tragic tornado in the sense that it did take lives. There were 3 taken, if I'm not mistaken. But the fact that it was this tornado to break the EF5 drought, I think, is maybe a good thing in some way, and the fact that it didn't take a Joplin type tornado to go through the middle of a highly populated area, or a Moore, or any of those EF5 candidates that went through very highly populated areas. It's interesting to see that this was ultimately the tornado. The other thing is too, now we're looking at doing forensic damage analysis, which I think is the goal that I've wanted to do with what I've done for work here. We're looking outside of the original confines of the EF scale. And this might be the first stepping stone as to moving towards doing more of that in the future. If that means we'll do that for tornadoes that have already occurred, I'm not sure. But if this is where we're starting, we're going in the right direction, I think, into more accurately rating tornadoes in the future. So here is the Enderlin, South Dakota DAT export into Google Earth here, and we can see the 2 EF5 DIs that were labeled, and they directly relate to the tanker cars that were thrown. The provided image is from friend of the channel, Aaron Rigsby, great storm chaser. He's a top dog in the game, but and here is that tanker car that was thrown and the loaded grain hoppers. And the interesting thing is that they actually talked about the text in here. They actually went into a lot of detail when it comes to what they were able to come up with estimates. And here's the Northern Tornado Project. They did the analysis on the thrown car, which went the 475 feet. And they got an estimate of 266 miles per hour. Here's the analysis that I did, and this was just a very simple calculation on my behalf, kind of using just a simple cylinder, kind of assuming a distributed uniform wind load, and kind of working about the tipping point and just kind of using a little bit of the drag equation along with kind of sum of moments in order to determine, kind of the acting forces in order to suspend an empty tanker car. I was able to pull the serial number, get the approximate weight of it. To get within 2 miles per hour tells me that they probably did a similar type of analysis. What we've got here is what I think the most important thing is that we're using different forensics-based engineering methods in order to get more accurate wind speed estimates. Yes, we can use things like mobile Doppler radar and things like that, but looking outside of the scale, granted they're derived from similar types of things, but applying this level of detail to these types of situations is, I think, the path moving forward to having more accurate tornado ratings in the future. Now I think I have to address the elephant in the room, that being my video stated as why we will never see an EF5 tornado again. That is now invalidated, which is funny because that is now my most popular video by a wide margin on the channel. I'm not deleting the video, I'm leaving it up, and I still think the conversation is important to be had. Maybe this methodology that we're doing now for Enderlin is the path moving forward in order to more accurately rating some of these really beastly tornadoes moving forward. That's about it for this initial reaction to this. This is still a wild start to my week, and I'm still frankly quite in shock after doing videos about tornado damage now for years. So we're going to kind of see what the future is moving forward, if this means that we're going to start retroactively re-ranking tornadoes, or if this is just a new precedent moving forward for future candidates to be considered EF5s. Either way, it's a welcome change in my opinion, and I think it'll be a good precedent moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay safe out there when it comes to severe weather.